Hello, my name is Joshua Alston. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified emotionally focused therapist. And today we're watching Pam realizing Jim is her soulmate.
What did you say to my dad?
What?
After you talked, he called my mom and said he was going to look for an apartment.
Oh my God, Pam, I don't know.
Okay, so I wanted to pause right there. One of the biggest things I want to teach people is, why do things make sense? Why do emotions make sense? Why do reactions make sense? And I love Pam and her reaction because it's genuine. She just received information that her parents are breaking up, right? And something that had to do with Jim. So in that energy that she received, she went to confront Jim about it. And so in that manner, right, it makes sense that she's frustrated, she's overwhelmed, she's trying to figure things out, and she's scared. But at the same time, she has a hard time sharing that with Jim because she probably doesn't even realize she's scared. Okay, so at the same time, Jim, who is sitting in the kitchen, receives this energy from Pam. And hey, what did you say? That's automatically one of those things where our defenses are going to go up because of the fact that the way that it was received, as much as it is a beautiful question, the energy and the frustration that it's wrapped in is not as easy. So you can see he jumps right into the defense mode, trying to fix things, trying to make things better, because for him, without realizing it, he's had a consistent message of, oh, wait, maybe I messed up, maybe I wasn't good enough, I'm doing something wrong, and that's not something that's easy to handle.
50% of marriages end in divorce. So, it was her parents or my parents.
That I want to pause and just say is a very big coping mechanism to have to add some humor to things, but at the same time, right, not know exactly what to say in awkward moments.
What could Jim have said to make my dad want to leave my mom? And at what point in our marriage is he going to say it to me?
All right, so there's a perfect example of what is underneath of Pam's actions, right? What did he say to my dad that made him leave my mom? And the real fear is, what is he going to say to me? At what point are we going to break up? At what point is our relationship not going to matter? So for her, that concern is valid, but at the same time, we must be careful that she doesn't handle it in an unhealthy way. There's part of her brain that's going into a very unhealthy, kind of shameful spiral, blame spiral, and she has to be careful. But we have to honor that it's coming from a very real thing, that if it was true, if there's something coming that's going to cause them to break up, that would not be an easy place to be.
So what did he say? Was it my fault?
He said that you told him how much you love me, about how you feel when I walk in a room, and about how you've never doubted for a second that I'm the woman you want to spend the rest of your life with.
So I want to pause here because I think this is a beautiful moment between Pam and Jim, because it shows the conflict of the world, right? What is love? What does it mean to be loved? And the misunderstandings that happen in the desire to be loved and to love. As you can see here, it's all misunderstanding. That she perceived something that was happening that wasn't happening. But what I loved is she got some more information. She was able to talk to her dad. And then she came and shared with Jim. And I love Jim because he was there. He was watching over her. He was trying to make sure that he wasn't too pushy, but at the same time supportive. So that when she could receive the information, he was there to comfort her. Because even though she received hard news about her parents, it kind of validated where she was at, but it didn't change the fact that she still got scared. So even in this moment when she's coming and she's sharing with Jim what she just discovered, there's still fear there. There's still the possibility that what if? And so that to have this moment together, to be able to just hold each other, is a very beautiful place to allow for, even right now, the continued emotion, the fear that she's still feeling, to be able to be expressed in a healthy way.
When you're a kid, you assume your parents are soulmates. My kids are going to be right about that. I guess it also means that sometimes love affairs look different to the people inside them.
It's an interesting way to put it, but that's where another thing that we're looking at is we're not just looking at the the moment that we're in. We're looking at who else is going to be affected by it, the kids and all the different ways that it can affect everybody around us. But one of the things I want to put out there is that notice how, in her mind, what happened between her parents affect what it means to be loved by Jim. That fear, that what if, is a very scary place to be. And the thing I love about this clip is that they were able to talk to each other. They were able to have a hard conversation. They were able to, in a sense, argue for a moment. But what they did differently is that she went and got some more information. She asked questions. She talked to mom. She talked to dad. She didn't just rely on the idea that, okay, everything is now in trouble. Everything now is messed up. So I appreciate Pam and Jim because they have a lot more stuff up to coming if you've seen The Office. But it's a beautiful story of not giving up. It's a beautiful story of learning to continue to communicate and not jump to too many conclusions. Okay? So let's see what other people have said about this clip. It's the fact that Jim honestly didn't know what he told her dad, because for him, it was something normal, awesome. And I think that's correct, right? His concern was, I don't feel like I said anything that would cause harm, right? Because in his mind, he didn't. And sometimes those people that are having great moments in good relationships, right, even as we share good things, they could rub off on other people. Not to say we shouldn't share them, but emotions are hard. And one of the greatest things that I appreciate about Jim is he kind of took some responsibility, but at the same time, in a healthy relationship, he would have been able to share his concerns about that. How he felt like she was getting mad at him, and how he felt like she was blaming him for something that he didn't do. But I love, because at the same time, it is hard. Emotions are hard. So even as we're sharing things, it can be misunderstood. So the ability to be able to come back and talk to each other is hugely important. Okay. 50% of marriages end up in divorce. So it's either my parents or her parents or my parents. This was funny as hell. And that's where I want to go back to the same thing, right? Even this person agrees. Adding a little bit of humor helps to lessen the load that Jim was carrying right now. Not to say that it was healthy, but it's a way to just lessen the pain that he was feeling in the moment, because at the same time he didn't fully understand and he needed a way to cope. Okay? Let's read a couple more. Okay. The unexplained context of Andy getting frustrated in the background is such a funny side joke throughout this episode. And I don't know too much. I'm trying to remember the episode, right, where they're talking about something, and that's what it is. They're watching a video that they've been together, and they keep making comments about mom and dad, and Andy thinks they're talking about the video and how they have so much insight, and so that could just show that sometimes we are on a totally different storyline, where totally different topics are being talked about, but they sound so familiar because our bodies want it to be familiar, and that is interesting how they point that out. Okay, imagine having a love so pure and potent it makes others step it up in their relationship, or leave them alone to find that feeling of partnership themselves. Okay. And I think that's where we already talked about, is this idea that sometimes it's hard to see other people doing well when we're not. And that happens to everybody. One of the hardest things about being a couples therapist, especially at the beginning of my relationship, I didn't have a beautiful understanding or healthy understanding of emotions. And so to talk to other people about their lives or see other people that are doing well when you weren't, it kind of brings up those things that you don't want to talk about. And so one of the greatest things I'm going to leave you with is this beautiful place that to know that we all have problems. We all have moments. We're all going to have moments when we doubt our partners, when we doubt ourselves, when we doubt life and the world around us. But what I want you to know is that you make sense. That part makes sense, because if the scary thoughts, if the negative thoughts that we had in our head were true, what would that mean? And we're going to honor that fear, but we're going to work on separating it from the reality or what it meant. Pam had a fear of the future, and the part of her, that cycle inside her, told her, hey, something bad's going to happen to you too. And if that's the case, right, we're glad she was jumped into that fight or flight, fix it mode. But we have to be careful not to believe all the negative thoughts that come through our head. All those negative thoughts are there to protect us, but they're not all correct. One of the greatest things we can do is reach out to the people in our lives that we feel safe, learn to trust ourselves, learn to trust around, create that safe place that we can process through the emotions that we have, so that we can find the reality of what's really going on, honor the fear that is there, but then be able to logically find the ideas and the meanings and the reality that's going on around us, so that we don't have misunderstandings, so that we can find each other quicker. Just as Pam and Jim were able to do, they were able to find each other again quickly. And that's the goal. We're going to argue, we're going to be sad, we're going to be scared. If we can learn to do it together in a safe, healthy way, then we can get through anything.